Okay, welcome to Art 304 Painting. This is just a little introductory lecture about how we see and how we see color. Scientists have been trying to figure out since the dawn of the age how our eyes work. Back in the Middle Ages, they thought that light rays shot out of our eyes, bounced off of objects, and came back into our eyes, and that's how we saw things, which of course isn't correct. It was about the mid-1700s when Isaac Newton, who was best known for his theory of gravity, was playing around with some prisms and light, and he made some discoveries. So he had a little hole in his window shade, and a beam of white light shone through the shade, and he shined that beam of light through a glass prism. Those are the things that hang from your chandeliers. And what came out the other side was what we now know to be called the visible spectrum, or the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. Well, he had a bunch of mirrors and lights and played around with this a little more, and he discovered if he took 3 of these colors, red, green, and blue, and he shone those colors through the prism, what came out the other side was white light. So he theorized that red, green, and blue were the primary colors of light. This is a little bit different from what we remember from kindergarten, where the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, but I'll explain that in just a minute. So the next time you're at a theater production or maybe a concert, take a look at the lighting that's occurring on stage. You might notice banks of white lights, and you also might notice banks of red, green, and blue lights. So if we assume that red, green, and blue are the primary colors of light, okay, what happens when a red light and a green light overlap? This is going to be a fairly strange result if you're used to crayons or paints, because red overlapping green gives yellow. Green overlapping blue gives a blue-green color known as cyan. And red overlapping blue gives magenta. And red, green, blue, or all of them together, give us white light. So this is actually how we see. The way our eyes work is that we have, on the back of our retinas, are covered with structures called cones and also rods. So rods are good for low light viewing. If you were a raccoon, you would have a lot of these in your eye. But we see color very well, and so our color receptors are known as these cones. And basically, they're sensitive to red, green, and blue wavelengths of color. So if red and green make yellow, how do we see orange? Well, a little more red, okay, will equal orange. So it's combinations of red, green, and blue that make up all of the colors that we see. This is how your computer monitor works. It's also how your television works, and it's how your eyes work. So let's shift gears a little bit, because we're going to be using pigment, acrylic paint, in this class. This light is known as an additive color process because you're using direct rays of light. So let's say you have a red car. No, let's say you have a white car, sorry. White sunlight shines on the white car, and our eye obviously sees white, correct? Okay. If we shine a red light on the white car, our eye will see red. So what happens when we shine a white light on a red car? What happens is that the red car, the paint, has been chemically formulated to absorb all of the colors of the visible spectrum except for red. So orange, yellow, green, blue, violet are all absorbed or subtracted out. Oops. So this is known as a subtractive process. So the pigment color wheel is going to look like this. Red, yellow, blue. Red and blue make violet. Blue and yellow make green. Red and yellow make orange. And mixed together you get a very dark brown or black. So that is a subtractive process, and that's what we'll be using in this class. Pigments.